Welcome back to Face the Nation, and we're going to turn from Iraq to politics back home. Reince Priebus is the chairman of the Republican National Committee. Mr. Chairman, thank you for coming.
Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Thank you very much. Eric Cantor got beat. Lindsey Graham won. How divided is the Republican Party right now?
Yeah, I don't think it's divided at all. I mean, I think you have districts that are 85% Republican, and more than one Republican wants to be a congressman, and in some cases more than one person wants to be a senator. And so, you know, I think in regard to the Cantor issue, I think Tom Price had it right this past week when he said, look, when you're trying to be a majority leader, and Eric did a great job of it, but it takes you all over this country, takes you out of your district, and pretty soon that good work you're doing nationally becomes a liability locally. You know, I think it's a local issue. I mean, we all know what Tip O'Neill had to say about local politics, and I think that's what this is.
I hear you, and with respect to your answer, if the Republican Party is not divided, then do I take it you're all for immigration reform, or you're all against immigration reform?
The Democrats don't agree on everything either.
Well, of course not, but I'm asking about your party.
Yeah, but no, I don't think so. I think that if you look at, you Google Ted Cruz, you Google Rand Paul and immigration, what you'll find is that even Rand Paul and Ted Cruz have been out there publicly calling for serious immigration reform. And so, in fact, Rand Paul on March 19th went to the Hispanic Chamber and said we need comprehensive immigration reform. Those are his words, not mine. I think there's consensus that the immigration system is broken, but how to fix it is another issue. Well, and if Harry Reid says it's my way or the highway, well, guess what? It's not going to happen.
Well, people like Lindsey Graham say there ought to be a path to citizenship for the immigrants who are in this country right now. Would most Republicans agree with that?
I'm not sure about that, but you know, as chairman of this party, I think that what we have to do is more fundamental than just argue about policy. I mean, we've talked about this before. You get the policy right all day long, but if you don't have a conduit in the community on a long-term basis, if you don't have Republicans and Hispanic and African American and Asian communities talking about the Republican Party, our nominee, etc., for 4 years, not just 4 months, you're not going to improve in national elections. But you know, we're heading into a midterm, Bob, and I think we all know this. We can keep discussing the Republican Party. We're going to add seats to the House, so our majority is going to grow. And I think most people out there believe that we've got a better than 50-50 chance of winning the U.S. Senate. We're doing about everything you need to do to keep winning. I mean, the fact is, we didn't beat an incumbent president in 2012. We're winning everywhere else. The future is very solid, and I think this year is going to be a great year for our party.
You know, it's so much of it reminds me of 1964. Maybe I'm the oldest person around, and I probably am, and maybe the only one old enough to remember that. But I remember a Republican Party where you had Republican moderates, mostly in the East, headed by Nelson Rockefeller, and then you had Western conservatives headed by Barry Goldwater. Those two factions never came together, and Goldwater lost the election in a historic landslide. And how do you prevent that from happening right now?
Well, you do what we're doing at the national level. You become a four-year party. You get in communities nonstop. But the fact is, where are we not winning, Bob? I mean, what state governors races are we not winning? What House races are we not winning? I mean, what we're talking about is taking the
last
okay, that's right. An incumbent president with a country that said 50-50 right track, wrong track. I mean, that's shocking that an incumbent president didn't win. But the fact is, we're now running with a lot of great people that have a vision for this country, like Bobby Jindal, Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, Rand Paul, and others in my own state of Wisconsin, that are very dynamic. And it looks like Hillary Clinton's getting ready. She went from a 70% approval rating down to about 58 in 18 months, 52 in 18 months.
She just opened her book tour. She has her book out. Some said she kind of stumbled a bit when she started talking about being dead broke when she and her husband left the White House. What's your, give me your review of her book tour so far.
Well, I mean, if you just take a step back for a minute, you know, the Hillary Clinton folks wanted this to be sort of a campaign rollout. And when communications people do a rollout, they try to pick a really great interview to do, so they picked Diane Sawyer. Diane Sawyer ended up picking her apart. You know, she said she was dead broke. She didn't have any answers on Benghazi. Just a day earlier, the White House said Hillary Clinton's top accomplishment is that they decimated Al-Qaeda, as if they didn't know what the next day's newspapers were going to say. I mean, I just don't think she's very good at it. I mean, they staged this thing, they planned this book. It's a book of mush, as I think Mark Halperin called it, and she went out of the gate with one gaffe after the next. This is my point. We're going to do great in this midterm, and I think people expect us to do well. And then we're going to move into the presidential election. The Democrats have nobody behind Hillary Clinton. And if she keeps free-falling, she's not going to be the nominee.
Will you be united in the presidential election?
We will be united in the presidential election. And if you just take one race of Eric Cantor, a Republican district that remains Republican, and you want to talk about Mississippi, another Republican state that's going to be Republican, you know, you're taking two races out of the entire country and extrapolating that. Big division.
Well, what will be your appeal to Hispanics? Because right now, what did Mitt Romney get? 13%?
He got 27%. 27%. But look, you can't talk about, you know, some of the things that were done in that race. Number one, you know, the word self-deportation certainly didn't help Mitt Romney's chances with Hispanics. But the bigger problem, Bob, is that if you're not in the community, but for 3 months before an election, you're not going to win over those voters. And what we've said at the Republican National Committee is we need to have a 4-year program in Hispanic communities, in black communities, in Asian communities. And that's what we've done. And I think we're going to have a better chance. And you know what? Economy, jobs, it's still number one. And right now the president hasn't delivered, and Hillary Clinton's been a part of it.
All right. Reince Priebus, always good to have you.
You bet.
Hope you'll come back.
Thank you.
And